Yes, the video you've just watched is from a press briefing that was put together by the coalition of united political parties, popularly called the UCUPP. Now, that was the spokesperson, Ikenga, Barrister Ikenga Ogochinyere, who is our guest right about now, to do justice to the conversation around concerns. Opposition parties are raising concerns. So good to have you in the studio. Good morning. Good morning, Ikenga Ogochinyere. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Barrister, you are in the news again. You're in the news again with quite some very huge allegations against some political parties this morning. Let's get some clarity on what the allegations are. Let me start off with the 10 million. You talked about 10 million bank verification numbers. I want to start with that in the conversation. Please let me understand exactly what CUPP found out as regards the 10 million bank verification numbers.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. What happened is that for some time now, we have been tracking intelligence of harvesting of bank accounts by the opposition APC for some time now. And that was what led us to our press conference yesterday, because from the documents and the intelligence we gathered, that plot have reached perfection level. And what happened is that they give out forms to innocent rural dwellers, like this one here in Katsina and part of the Northwest. They say a citizen grassroots association. They are collecting your bank BVN, your bank name, your bank account, and then your phone number. In Ekiti, they were sharing what they call Ekiti Development Front form. They will collect your voter ID number, your bank account, and your national ID. These are personal private data. In Omaha, Abia State, they gave out a form they call APC Empowerment Form. They will collect your polling unit number, your voter's card number, your bank account. In Cross River, they use a form they say Forum of Tinubu supporters, and then they'll collect your bank account, your polling unit, your VIN number, and then your phone numbers. In Ebony State and part of the Southeast, they gave out what they call support group coordination, and then they'll collect your account number, your BVN, and all this. Then in Imo State, and some part of Southeast, they gave out this form, this one here. They call it a vote canvassing form, and then they harvest your bank account, your voter ID, and so on and so forth. After all these things we are collected, as we are following it, then we now find out they have started tabulating it in different states, so that the payment schedule that they use in paying civil servants, where they tabulate their name, their account number, and their ministry. Because of privacy issue, I may not show out this in details. This is the one now they have started tabulating, containing PVC number, phone number, and account number. So now you can see all the account numbers are being written down like in a spreadsheet, and in a then the PVC and the phone number. Now, this is what they called Operation Wire, digital vote buying. Immediately, the central bank said that currency will be redesigned and there will be limited withdrawals. Now, suddenly they changed the game and felt that it is better to collect the account numbers and the VIN numbers and the voters' numbers and carry out this Operation Wire by transferring these monies directly to the rural dwellers. And now, from our intelligence, that over 10 million account numbers from the projections of the states that this Operation Wire have been carried out is our projection. It can be higher, just like when we reviewed Omama Magic, only to discover that it is even more higher and more deeper than we had expected. Now, what I'm saying in effect, which is very dangerous, is that if you go to the Electoral Act, and I think section 117, 1139, and 22, something or thereabouts, yes. Vote buy-in, PVC buy-in, undue influence. If you give somebody a gift or a money or a payment aimed at influencing him, that is an offense. Now, what has happened here is an offense, and that is why we. Okay.
Just hold your thought 1 second, because I am thinking how this would influence the voter here. The fact that you have my BVN, you have my account details, how would that affect my decision to vote for whom I want to vote for? And how would that affect the workings of the BVAS machine by INEC? Please help me understand how this can work against the system.
Okay, there is multiple assault on the path to a credible election. Operation Wire is just one, aimed at unduly influencing the mind of the voter. Yes, not every voter after collecting your money will vote for you, but you know the level of education at the rural area, because it is party members that are going to these innocent rural dwellers and giving them this form and collecting this bank account number and telling them that government that are working for will transfer money to them. It is these same people that will come and say, Mama, have you gotten your 10,000? You will vote for us. So some people can be unduly influenced when they receive money from this operation wire. While some, just like physical vote buying, may still collect your money and go to the polling unit and refuse to vote for you. But in most cases, when they give you this money, they will claim that either you are deaf or dumb or you are uneducated, that they will escort you to go and vote, just to be sure where you are going to vote. While some will say you must go with phone to snap to show you have voted for them. The point is that whether it is going to be effective or not is not even the issue. For the fact that you are trying to unduly influence a voter, which is against the provisions of the Electoral Act, which is a criminal offense that upon conviction is 1 year imprisonment. We want the security agencies and the central bank to give standing instructions to the bank not to carry out Operation Wire on a large scale of transferring money to 100,000 to 1 million people on election day. Put a stop to that so that we can get over with this. Then the second thing that is very important as it has to affect beavers, it is because we have beavers. Okay, it so is because we have beavers.
Hold on, Ikenga.
That is why.
Hold on, Ikenga. It's our show. Don't worry, we'll have a conversation here right about now. So help me understand this. So at this point, it is attempted vote buying. And it's also presumptuous here. It has not been proven. There has been no transaction done. There has been no transfer done. So you cannot automatically say it is vote buying, but maybe an attempt at inducing the electorates.
Okay, I understand what you are saying. Attempt, conspiracy, these are elements of criminal offense. It's like somebody who has acquired a gun for assassination. Then you are waiting. Is it when he fires before you call it assassination? Is an attempted assassination is a criminal offense. Now there is an attempt to unduly influence voter. They have told that to the voter. They have taken his BVN. They have taken his voter's card. And I have shown it at the press conference. Thousands of them. They are running into millions. So are we going to wait until the bank officer clicks send before we can now deal with it? By that time, it's already late. And that is why I said, stop the people who are about to commit this crime. And we have brought out the BVN and the phone numbers and the account numbers. It's left for security agencies to arrest those who are on that list, to inquire from them who collected this account number from them and for what purpose. It is the job of security agencies at this moment to do their investigation. So that is why I said, whether you call it attempted vote buying, attempt to unduly influence, the point is that this is a path to a criminal and an electoral offense, and it has to stop.
Fantastic, Ugochinyere. I'm happy we're bringing this conversation to the fore, and it's important that security agents that are saddled with responsibility of investigating or maybe truncating this attempt of criminality should begin to go to work. Now let's look at INEC as an umpire in this whole conversation. Now, when we detect all of these attempts at vote buying, all of these criminalities towards the election, what is INEC's position? What do you think INEC should be doing at this point in time?
For the first time in our work, INEC has made our work so easy. Easy in the sense that the first issue that was raised here, the first issue was about enabling law. How the enabling law even come into force was by commitment of INEC then under Bukola Saraki as Senate President that who started the path to Electoral Act amendment. INEC came out, with all seriousness and made suggestions that brought all these technologies into our election. Even though the president didn't sign it then, INEC didn't give up. They continued up to under Ahmed Lawan and continue under President Mohamed Buhari, and the law was signed. That is how we now have the enabling electoral framework with which we are hoping to have free and fair election. And INEC have deployed those technologies, and you can see our election, though not perfect, but it's getting better. That is why you can see politicians are desperate either to get involved in a Omuma Magic compromise of the register or to get involved in Operation Wire. It means that what INEC is doing is having a hit on them. That is why they are trying to change the game of how they corrupt the electoral process. And more importantly, credible election starts with credible register. And you can see what happened when we made the first revelation about Omuma Magic. And I want Nigerians to have one culture of, if somebody makes a revelation, try to find out whether it's true or false. And not because you belong to any political party or any interest, you start to condemn or you start to make comments that undermine those things. Because having a good society benefits all of us. So when we made the first revelation that there had been an Omuma Magic compromise of voter register that was cooked in Imo State and exported to 14 states, many said, Ikenga, where did he get that document? But my brother, you have seen, finally, INEC have uploaded that register on their portal. And Nigerians are now seeing that the damage these people do to the register is more than I even allege. From Boronu to Yobe, from Yobe to Imo State, to every part of Nigeria, multiple registration, underage registration, duplicated registration, foreign names, to the extent of the finding people made recently in Amozu. Amozu is a ward in a polling unit they call Dina Nume in Wangele local government, where the deputy speaker of Imo State comes from. In that polling unit, a new polling unit, there was 1,225 registrations, out of which not up to 100 is Igbo people in Wangele. The rest 1,000 something are Deji Adeyinju duplicated into hundreds, Adamu duplicated into 100, the same picture, some of them male picture, female gender. The entire 1,000 registration was fucked up in Dunanume in Amos in Wangele. And so when you see these kind of things, you now ask yourself, is it the fault of INEC leadership now? No. It is politicians that conspire with those registration officers to carry out this assault on our democracy. And that is why when we made the revelation, at least normally if it was in the past, INEC could have denied. INEC accepted that there are some infractions and they are dealing with it. And they have just informed us about 55 or thereabout staffs have been identified who carried out the fake registration. Now the problem here is not INEC. That is why at our press conference yesterday, we even gave a vote of confidence on Professor Mahmoud on his determination. That the problem we have now is that the security agencies have not arrested the people that carried out the first fake registration across over 18 states in the country, knowing that under Section 19 of the Electoral Act, if you register anybody that ought not to be registered is a criminal offense that have 1 year imprisonment. So that is why we said, going by the spirit of the alliance that political leaders have with the heads of the security agencies and the inspector generals of office that have the DSS, we agreed to work together to ensure that the path to 2023 is credible. Going to in that spirit, we now expect that security agencies in the next coming weeks will parade the registration officers that were involved in tampering with the registration. We don't want to get involved in stereotype accusation against INEC, because at this particular moment, INEC have done what is expected of them under the law. For the first time in our history, the entire register, starting from 2011, was uploaded online. And that is why that transparency is a weapon that Nigerians have used very positively, and now they're identifying this fake registration and making this observation. And if you permit me, I must say this, which is very important, and I want listeners to listen to me. If people can upload Adamu in faraway Amos in Wangele and upload foreign names from Cotonou, from Europe, from different parts of the world into the register, running in millions, almost over 5 million fake registrations. The question I want Nigerians to ask, these people know that fingerprint accreditation will be used on election day, that Vivas will be used, but they still went ahead and uploaded fake registration. So what should worry all of us today is that how are these people going to accredit this fake name? Could it be that the information we have that they are trying to undermine the technology is true? Have they found a way to undermine the technology? That is why the security agencies need to arrest the ad hoc staffs who carried out this Omumamaji kind of registration across all parts of the country, investigate them and find out their financiers and also how they planned to authenticate this accreditation on election day. Because if we do not find out how they plan to do that, and we get to election on Saturday in February, and you see dubious figures coming from different locations, that can slide us into electoral crisis, which will not be good for Nigerian democracy. And in order to avert it, we demand, and we will keep demanding, and I want Nigerians to join us in demanding that those who carried Omumamaji, which has created a huge damage that INEC is trying to solve on our voter register, must be fished out, must be investigated, must be prosecuted, and then the secret of how they try to authenticate accreditation of this fake registration unravel to Nigerians so that we know that problem has been neutralized.
Deep-rooted concern here you're raising up, Barrister Ikenga. Deep-rooted. I mean, it's a chain. You can see it's a chain. Now, they've been able to perfect the registration. It will now be time for the next step will be at the election proper. I mean, you did ask a question, how do they intend to accredit these individuals on election day? That is where the cartel still has to be, it has to be stopped. Right at about now, it has to be stopped. Ikenga, you also did raise quite some concern. Look, at this point, I don't envy INEC. I don't envy INEC, given to the loads of work they have to deal with. Rather than allowing INEC deal with legitimate work, now they are dealing with infractions, amongst its staff members and all of that. But then you also raised a concern around, you did say that still the pressure is still on to get rid of, remove the INEC chairman. Yes, you did say politicians are still on that route of ensuring that they get Mahmoud Yakubu out of the picture so they can perpetrate their franchise. Tell me exactly how you came about these findings.
In Igbo, they say, wherever a child keeps crying consistently and pointing at a direction, either the mother or the father is there. We have been crying and pointing at a direction, and we are pointing not based on hearsay. We are pointing based on strong intelligence. The way we have gathered this intelligence that have not been faulted in the last 2-3 years that CUPP have come into existence. And we are telling you that some people wanted to stop the commission from publishing the voter register online. They wanted Nigerians to have been kept in the dark. The commission went ahead and published it. Some people feel, oh, the publication is targeted at their party or at their tribe or whatever. It's not targeted at anybody. It's for the sake of transparency. And then because of that, went back again to renew their plot on how they will force the INEC chairman out of office. But our own is that we are telling President Mohamed Buhari, you have made a commitment at the United Nations. We believe you, Mr. President, that the legacy you want to leave behind is a legacy of free and fair election. And we are telling you that some political buccaneers, majority of them in your party, are holding meetings left, right, and center on how they can cause a leadership change in the commission. It's left for the president to order an inquiry to find out, or even invite us to come and give him some information that we cannot even give on TV on what these people are trying to do. And that would destroy the credibility of the electoral process. Whether it's a forced resignation, forced removal, court injunctions, that we will not accept it. That will throw the country into an electoral crisis. And more importantly, why are people fighting over the register that was published? It's in the interest of our democracy. How do you want all this Adamu in Wangele, in Amuzi? How do you want all these, some of them in Kechi, you can see in the northern part of the country? How do you want babies that their mother is carrying that, were registered? These things are not good. And also, more importantly, we must accept the device, which has enhanced our election. Nobody knows tomorrow. You might be in APC today, tomorrow you're in PDP. Some might be in PDP, tomorrow you're in Labour. You can see the political class keep moving from one party to the other. So you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow. The only thing that can save you tomorrow is a credible and free election path if it is institutionalized. And like I said, and like we said also, all these things are connected at either having a weak commission that can dance to the wishes of people in power, or to have a commission that will lose control of his technology and it will be subject to manipulation. Because all that we have been saying is all around this accreditation. Because how politicians manipulate the election in the past is that after voting, they will increase the number they want. and then have 20,000 from one location, 100,000 from one location, 1 million from one location, and use it to overrun their opponent. But what INEC have done, that technology has limited accreditation. And once you limit accreditation, you limit outrageous figures. So you can see all the offenses and all the offensive you are seeing is centered around her trying to undermine that technology, undermine accreditation, and the output that is going to come. So that what will be transmitted may seem to look like a real election, but the way it was produced was fraudulent. That is why everything we are saying is connected. Even the afternoon raid that were announced, that was test run in Ngokbal. And whenever I'm saying this, I want Nigerians to be recording me and rehearsing it, because when these things will happen, I don't want people to start crying. These things has already happened in small levels. In Ngokbala, what they did, they waited for accreditation, and that was just 24 hours after President Mohamed Buhari signed that law. They waited for accreditation to reach around 11-12. The question now, I know people will be asking me, why do they have to wait till 11-12? Because if they attack the polling unit by 10 in the morning, that time people have not fully accredited because of the VIVAS. There's no way to bypass it. Now, if they come late around 5 p.m., result might have been transmitted. So this attack, if it's going to happen again, will happen around 11-12-1. And when they come, by that time, a lot of people have accredited. So a lot of accreditation has gone into the beavers. Then they will overpower the people at the polling unit, either with help of paramilitary organization or security organization or talks, and then carry the beavers and adopt the INEC staff. So when they go, they will force you to open the beavers, and then they will collect the total number that is already accredited, because if they go beyond that, the election will be overvoted and to be null and void. So they will collect, even if it is 20. When they collect the 20, they will force you to write the result and transmit to the INEC server. And the thing will look like it's a genuine election. And how do we deal with this? Security agencies have to find a way to read the Riot Act to their staff at the rural areas, not to get involved in any raiding of any plane, even if it involves the government. They have to find a way to disband the security organizations some of the governors has formed in their states, which they are using in harassing opponents in Imo, in Ebonyi, in Zamfara, and other parts of the country. They also have, the citizens have a lot to do on this one. Everybody should go to polling unit, vote, and then in an orderly manner stay behind. Don't leave the polling unit, because if large number of people have finished voting and they are the polling unit, some of these people may not successfully raid the polling unit. Even if they raid it, there will be so much commotion that they may not be able to get all the materials they require with which to carry out this afternoon raid. And even if they raid it, all of you will move to the RACTED, the next collection center, to start screaming and complaining that they have taken your material, so that even if they transmit that result from any location, it will not be accepted. You must wait behind after voting and ensure the result is announced, and also ensure that the INEC staff transmit it. Don't let them say, let us go somewhere. No, you transmit it and give agents their copy, paste it on the wall before anybody leaves the polling unit and go to the next collection center.
Wow. Barrister Ikenga Ugochinyere, so many interesting, what's the word, revelations you're bringing to the fore. And I think Nigerians would not take this lightly. Nigerians would not take this lightly. Our eyes are opened, our ears are to the ground, ensuring that we get the credible election that we want as a people and as a nation. It is still News Up. We are speaking with Barrister Ikenga Ugochinyere, who is a spokesperson for the coalition of united political parties. Concerns being raised are massive, but then we'll have to go on a break. When we come back, we'll still continue our conversation with Barrister Ikenga Ugochinyere. Don't go away.
How much of technology do you understand?
I took a look at my LinkedIn and they said they didn't see, I can't forget the words, evidence of your work.
On Tech Hub, we'll help you understand how tech can impact your life.
Your phone and your SIM card is going to be a bigger asset.
With the power that we have with social media, with the digital space right now, you can be anything you want to be.
One of the other things we would see is that people would have more faith in tech companies.
And how much you can, through tech, impact your community.
The people who watch my videos, the people who see me and see what I represent, those are the people that I'm online.
Tech Hub is your one-stop platform for all things technology in Africa.
Tech Hub, for a smarter you.
All right, welcome back. It is still News Up Tuesday, and we're having this fantastic conversation with the spokesperson of the coalition of united political parties, talking about Barrister Ikenga Ugochinyere. Many concerns he has raised around the elections for 2023 and the plans by some political actors to truncate or divert the purpose and the direction of the election. We still have him right in our studios in Abuja. So good to know you are still there, Barrister Ikenga. Yeah. So good to know you are still there. So let's continue. You had raised concerns around the voter register. You have raised concern about around the wire, an attempt to influence decision of voters in the way of vote buying. I still stand by the word attempt, but then that does not reduce the efficacy and then the importance of the revelation that you have raised. We're just putting things in perspective on the show. You've also raised concern around plots to remove the INEC chairman, ensuring that the beavers is not made to work. We all understand the fact that from the very day the Electoral Act was signed, political players went to work trying to look for ways of how they can truncate or bypass positions of the Electoral Act. You have raised this very massive concern, and especially around the security and the way you analyzed how insecurity can play a part, how political parties can use mobilize their thugs to hijack the beavers and have them. It's like what we see in the movies where you can see how it is being played out even before it happens. So what that does is that it gives the security agencies the knowledge of how the enemies, the criminal, hopes to perpetrate his activity. Fantastic one there, Barrister Ikenga Ugochinyere. But also importantly is the fact that these have raised quite some concerns around capability of our security apparatus to deal with these concerns that you have raised. How much concern does this give you? We're talking about polling units in virtually 774,000 polling units thereabouts in Nigeria, even more. I stand corrected with that figure, but then local governments in Nigeria will be represented by polling units. Do you think we have enough security personnel to be able to handle these pictures that you have actually painted in terms of how players, stakeholders hope to distract, divert, truncate the election for 2023?
Well, first of all, let me say this. I will not talk down on the security agencies, but I'm a man that speaks truth to power. With what I saw physically with my own eyes, physically, this one is not intelligence, in Ngopala, that I was during the election. And I saw how people, I don't want to say security men, people in security men uniform, people that are dressed like security men, with people from the state governments and so on and so forth. We are moving in long convoys. We are there when those polling units were being raided and carried. Gives me serious concern. But why I'm not too much worried about that, maybe because it's an off-season election, it's just one location. That when we go to election in the over 170,000 polling units in the country, that security will improve. Because at our last meeting with the Inspector General of Police, with the DSS, the Army, the Civil Defense, Fire Service, EFCC, everybody, they promise us that they are going to effectively police the election. They promise us they are going to deal seriously with non-state actors, that are going to create the enabling environment for us to have a free and fair election. And I want to believe that the IG is serious about what he said. And then if he's serious, that is why the opposition, when we went back, we had our meeting. And we came up with some minimum demands, which is, now that you have said that the security agencies is serious about policing the election and are going to deal seriously with non-state actors, and are not going to aid any of the parties, whether in government or out of government, Now let's start first with the first threat, which is the compromise of the voter register. Have you paraded those who did the Muma magic? And then have you been able, through intelligence, to find out how they plan to do the accreditation? Because election security or election compromise does not just only happen on election day. Some can happen before and after. And the before has to do with the plan to compromise accreditation and the voter register process. Deal with that first. Then we'll come to the issue of non-state actors. Already you have seen the stories coming from Ebonyi, coming from Imo, coming from Zamfara, coming from Kaduna, how opposition members are hunted. And when I use the word opposition, I mean the government that is in power at the state. It doesn't mean that the opposition can, in some states, or ruling government, whether the PDP or APC, can be entirely removed out from this. No, but the point I'm saying, that the security agency should not be part of what I call, something that is, I don't know the right language to use for that. These are things that happen in Nkurunziza's Burundi or Mobutu Sese Co's Zaire, where police officers will be involved in hurriedly put together investigation. You know that you're accusing somebody of murder charge, you charge him in a magistrate, the court say they don't have jurisdiction here, you carry him again as he's coming out from the court, you charge him in a high court, as he's coming out again, you charge him for sneezing. You see, these are madness as long as I'm concerned. It's not supposed to happen in a civilized society. If you think somebody has committed a crime, do your investigation, file your charges, allow him to take his bail. But when they keep denying that person bail, it means that the whole target is all about stopping that person from being in circulation. You can see with what is happening to the Labour Party people in Ebonyi State, where one of the candidates that is running against the governor was arrested by Bubago people and taken to police, and from there they took him to court, and they have been doing everything possible to deny him bail. Police should not be part of that. When police is involved in things like this, it makes people to lose confidence in them, and it makes us to feel they are not ready to police the election effectively in 2023. Like in Imo State, as you are aware, when I raised the issue, INEC staffs were taken from their homes and then investigated, and they were asking them questions that are so provocative, which is if they were the one who leaked the information of the Muma magic to Ikenga. Can you imagine that? Instead of you, even when INEC did not make any complaint, because INEC themselves know that this thing happened, you now took them because possibly you're working for the state government, and then you're asking them if they were the one who leaked information that have saved our democracy. And then you have the audacity to arraign them in a magistrate court and tell them to get a state PAMSEC. When you know the government have told PAMSEC not to shorty anybody that is in the opposition, then you leave them in detention. And police should not be found, security agencies should not be found near this kind of abracadabra at all. They should not, because that is destroying their credibility and creating that. And that if there's any detention where people are still in detention because of things like this, police should remove their hands from it. Because what the police should have done to help to build confidence in any civilized society was to go after those who were planning to throw the country into crisis. Because if I did not make this revelation and people got to election on February, Saturday, 2023, and then some locations like Omuma will bring 46,000, somewhere in Borno will bring 80,000, this one will bring 100,000, the country would have slided into crisis. I saved Nigeria from electoral crisis that would have been more deadly than that of 1963 and 83. So, but instead of going after those who plotted this evil, you are going after those who you say leaked the information. Imagine some of them saying, where did Ikenga get the information? Ikenga has leaked secret documents. Forgetting that under Section 19 of the Electoral Act, voter register is a public document that is supposed to be published for public viewing, and INEC published it, and that's how we got the intelligence. But for people to think of arresting me and charging me to a magistrate court was very provocative and undermining of our electoral process. And that is why we said, I don't want to accuse security agencies of anything in view of the meeting we had recently, that going forward, if after next 2-3 weeks, police and DSS does not come with prosecution, does not come with arrest of those who compromise the register, do not come with investigation on those who raided polling units in Ngokbala, then we may start having doubts whether they're actually ready for the election. And like I said before, they promise us that they will police all the polling units. They promise us that they're going to put a team that's going to be a rapid response team in different local governments and states that will deal with non-state actors, whether you call, whichever name you call them, that are going to, crush them, whether they are being backed by the state government or backed by the opposition. And they are going to do everything to provide enabling environment and playing field for all actors. And also they told us that they're going to police and protect INEC infrastructures in all the local governments and in all the polling units where they will be deployed. We believe them. But believing them further will show with the seriousness with which they are handling pre-election threats. Pre-election threat like compromise of register, pre-election threat like somebody trying to undermine the beavers or plotting to preload accreditation into the beavers, pre-election threat, people arming militia and pro-government paramilitary groups for the purpose of afternoon raiding the polling units. And then pre-election investigation that has to do with dealing with the actors behind Operation Wire who are harvesting these bank accounts for the purpose of digital vote transfer. All these things are the things that in the coming 2-3 weeks, if they start doing it, then I can tell you that yes, we are sure that they will effectively carry out this work in all the over 170,000 polling units in the country.
That for me is a very huge concern. When you look at the number of policemen that we have in Nigeria and then you just oppose it on the number of polling units that we have for the election, I don't know if I can conveniently say I am convinced that the Nigerian police can manage manage or police virtually all the polling units, even though we can attest to the fact that it is not all polling units that would have such levels of violence or attempts at truncating the concerns. Ikenga, you've raised quite a number of concerns, which I think it's important that the entire Nigerian get to know about. I'm a little bit concerned at the fact that, yes, we are less than 100 days to the election. We are not seeing much information being passed around in terms of orientation, reorientation, awareness of the polity, awareness of the electorates, of the do's and the don'ts, and then everybody just sitting and waiting for the election to come with little or no knowledge or information being passed to the electorates going forward. How much concern does this give to you, and how much of reorientation or orientation do you think the Nigerian polity really needs at this point in time?
One of the key issues, like we said yesterday, how do we navigate out of this whole threat and concern, was about citizens' involvement, awareness, transparency, information. That is why, like I said, first, INEC have led in that transparency by giving the entire voter register to the entire citizens, and that is why we are calling on political parties, churches, mosques, to on Sunday and Friday announce to their followers to go online and check. Because when the response we got from independent Nigerians is what have helped us to unravel this shocking Amuma Magic Plus that has infested the register. And then the meeting the security agencies called us is also part of that awareness and sensitization we directed. And we also agree with the Inspector General of Police to take the conversation to the states, because the things that threaten our election more does not come from Abuja more. It comes from what the commissioners of police at different states are doing. Though some of them may be acting based on pressure from Abuja, but most of these things are carried out at the state level. That interaction and engagement among governorship candidates, senatorial candidates, rep candidates, state assembly, all come together with the heads of security agencies in different states to have a common ground on how they are going to police the election. But just like you said, the awareness, the percentage of the awareness is not even up to 40% now, apart from the one that young Nigerians are doing on social media. We need the churches, we need the mosques, we need workplaces, we need musicians and celebrities to start educating our people. And what do we need to educate our people? First, collect your PVC. Apart from collecting your PVC, checking your name in the voter register and also checking if any suspicious name is there. Then we go to the point of coming out early to vote. If everybody can come out very early, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. to the polling unit, before 12 we are done. We may transmit the result even before people who want to carry crisis will come. Educating the people on the need to sacrifice that entire Saturday for our democracy and for our nation. Don't go anywhere. When you come very early, you vote. When you finish voting, all of you, both the youth and the women and our fathers, they will sit, behind, in an orderly manner. So imagine where you have 200, 500 people in the polling unit, and 2-3 talks will come with gun once overrun. People can resist them, unless you want to massacre everybody. And when they see the crowd, they will back down. Even if they succeed in carrying it, the commotion after it, the people will run to the ward collection and wait for them. Anything that is exposed cannot happen. Once you run to them, by the time they will transmit that fake result, the people at the RACTEC will remove it because the election has not been completed. So citizens' involvement is very important in this awareness. Educating our citizens and our voters are very important. These people that are busy harvesting account number and BVN, that's what those government or the politicians behind it should be doing, to educate our people to come out very early to vote and wait behind. That's why every political party, and also political parties, some of them are also not doing much. Every political party have to start spreading the message. They should be attending churches, they should be attending marketplaces, telling people, go collect your PVC, come out very early to vote before 8, 9, stay behind after voting, wait for the result to be announced, use your camera and video the announcement and counting of the result. And then as you are doing that, make sure that the result is transmitted. Don't allow the INEC staff to move and say, let me go, my guy say I should, supervisor say I should come in. No, even if but all of you should follow her to that next place. But she must transmit the result, and you see sent, and then she must paste it on the wall. And then agents have a right. Don't let her go. Collect your copy. It's your right. It's your constitutional right. You collect your copy. That is the only way to deal with these issues before we now go to the RACTEC.
Thank you. Thank you. So much we would need to talk about as the election draws closer. Ikenga Ugochinyere, thank you always for your time and good work you're doing. We are proud of what
a minute, if you permit me,
is doing, trying to bring awareness of
there is some, yes.
All right, thank you. I didn't get that.
There is some development that is worrisome. There is a development that is worrisome. As we are battling on how to deal with vote buying and other threats against our election, the Speaker of the House of Representatives and some lawmakers drafted an amendment bill, the Decimal Currency Amendment Bill and the CBN Act, to extend the deadline for the submission of the old Naira from 3 months to 6 months. So what these lawmakers are trying to do is the returning of the old currency will end by April. That is after the 2023 presidential election, meaning that those with old Naira can still have it in their home. So we are saying they should back off from that plot. The president should call them to order, as this country cannot witness and want to have that.
We will stay on this conversation. I can promise you that we'll bring you back to bring clarity to this conversation. Thank you very much for your time with us on the show, Barrister Ikenga Ugochinyere, spokesperson for the Coalition of United Political Parties. Quite mind-blogging revelations you've brought to Nigerians today. Thank you for your time and do have a great deal. Good job you're doing, I must say. We are proud of you. We identify what you're doing, and well done. All right.